Hi, welcome to Drag Me with me, Leeja Miller, your fun bisexual friend who doesn't actually know anything about what's going on. Today we're talking about episode 1 of All Star 7. Yes, the new season has just begun. We were blessed with the drop of 2 episodes at 3 a.m. on the 20th, and I am very excited to review this, or review this, if you will. So as a review of the queens that we have in front of us, we have Jaida Essence Hall, Jinx Monsoon, Monet Exchange, Raja, 𝗟𝗘𝗘𝗝𝗚𝗅, The Vivienne, Trinity the Tuck, and 𝗬𝗦𝗦𝗡𝗏𝗏. Let's go over their entrance looks, shall we? Last episode, I reacted to the queens themselves and just the vibe I was getting from them because I have never seen any of these queens in action because I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no business making a show about this. So you've already gotten my initial thoughts on the queens, but let's talk about the looks. And let me preface this entire show and all subsequent shows with the fact that I am not a fashion expert. I've never been a drag queen. I don't fully understand the amount of work that goes into being a drag queen, and I'm not a fashion expert. So the opinions that I'm sharing with you are really just my thoughts based on my own aesthetic ideals. I will say I do have an eye of some sort for aesthetic, but it's just specific to me. So I might have some unpopular opinions, but you know, that's a risk I'm willing to take. All right, so our first entrance look was 𝗟𝗘𝗘𝗝𝗏𝗡 with this orange bodysuit. And I love a bold, structured shoulder moment. And those heels, like that plastic heel moment, I know it's coming back into style, so she's on top of the trends, all right? I don't know why it kind of bothers me that the outfit, the leg just kind of ends right at the ankle and then there's nothing, and then the shoe. I would want something to kind of create that continuity. Right now it looks like exactly like what my workout tights look like. They just end at my ankle and then there's a shoe and there's no continuity there. So I would like maybe something to connect it. But the geometric orange and blue makeup, I mean, it's a look. She is stunning. Okay, and then next up, Jaida Essence Hall. Her entrance look is this like red and silver, what are those, rhinestones, crystals? Knowing these queens, they're probably like Swarovski crystals or something. Shimmery, beautiful, gorgeous bodysuit with like a bold structural collar and shoulder. Again, I am such a sucker for that kind of look. But this is more kind of a biker jacket vibe, and with the coiffed hairstyles, it's giving very 1950s grease lightning realness. And I see her bodysuit ends with kind of a rhinestone sock, shoe, boot situation, which is I think what I wanted from 𝗟𝗘𝗘𝗝𝗡𝗅's outfit, something to continue the look all the way down to the toe, and she is really nailing it. Next up, 𝗬𝗦𝗦𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏. We have this skimpy little bodysuit. Would we call that a bodysuit even though there's not legs on it? Is that still the right word? And it's got this dramatic cutout, which I love. And then a purple and yellow theme with this giant duster jacket. And there's even like these little rings at the bottom around the jacket. Like there's detailing in here, and the hair, it's like Ice Queen troll doll vibes. I will say the hair is kind of all over the place, and then throughout the rest of the time when she's wearing this, it's like flopping all over the place. But I think her vibe is imperfection, which I can get behind, but we are in All Stars, so perfection is kind of the goal. And it would have been really cool to have had more of a like very stiff kind of structural vibe to this hair. You know, I love a sculptural moment, okay? Probably keep saying this over and over again, but I do love the lip color, the two-tone lip. That is gorgeous. All right, next we have Trinity the Tuck. I am loving what are we gonna call this, like a bondage vibe. It's very in right now. The kind of leather detailing straps, it adds a special little element to an otherwise gorgeous ensemble, but it kind of really ups the detailing, plus that neon green color with the purple. It's a bold choice, and the shape is really cool. I'm noticing from a lot of these girls kind of leather detailing, shoulder pad moments. And I love the little things. What are the things that are on the top of their head? Curiosities? No. Fascinators. I love a good fascinator. I am a sucker for it. And the feather from the waist down, it's gorgeous. It falls beautifully. I mean, these ladies are just at the top of their game. They are stunning in this look. And that purple hair, ooh, it's a complete look for me. All right, next up, Monet Exchange, serving red plaid realness, as I believe they say, the kids say. We've got the Daisy Dukes and the bodysuit with the, what are those little straps that like hold up the tall boots? What are those called? Garters? And the thigh high boots. I mean, this really speaks to my Midwestern soul, a lumberjack vibe. And that hair, again, sculptural. It's like formed beautifully. And there's like a gold chain moment. I mean, this is a lot less kind of glamorous than what some of the other queens are working with. But you know, Monet's got that body yaddy yaddy, you know what I mean? So she can work it. I will say though, she has this kind of like collar thing and the sleeving that has more of a ruffle that kind of elevates the look, but it's like frayed, which I think it looks pretty intentional, but it kind of takes away from what that ruffle could be for me. I think it would have worked better for me personally if it was a really clean ruffle to kind of elevate it. I get that the frayed look is kind of working with the Daisy Dukes and stuff, but it doesn't really work for me. Like I wanted an Elizabethan lumberjack, you know what I mean? All right, next we have Jinkx Monsoon. What I love about this outfit is that this is something I would wear, which is pretty rare when it comes to drag. I tend to enjoy a understated, simplistic, minimalistic style. I don't like a lot of color. I love a bold shoulder moment, obviously, but only in white and black. But this is great. I love it. Like you're in a gothic mansion wandering around in your robe crying about your dead husband, Miss Havisham moment. Okay? That's what this is giving to me. I gotta say, I don't love the color of the wig. I would have wanted something a little darker to go with kind of the dark, dramatic vibe of the ensemble, but I think this might be the Jinkx Monsoon signature wig color. So I guess that's what we're going with. And I will say I don't love the jewelry, especially the earrings. They feel like the big plastic earrings I used to buy at Claire's in the early 2000s. Okay, but I will say Jinkx Monsoon seems really likable. I love that cackle. I'm excited to see what comes from her. Next up, Raja. I already said this in my last video. I love this look. When I tell you sculptural, this is what I mean. And I understand the eye reference now. I said last time that I had noted that there was a lot of eyes happening in her costuming and stuff, but someone told me about her entrance look being that Cyclops thing, which I had seen a clip of her entering with that kind of Cyclops thing. I didn't realize that was her entrance onto the show. Like it looked like she entered through some side door. Is that how they used to enter the show? But I understand the Cyclops eye reference, and this is gorgeous. It looks like a 1980s prom dress monstrosity with like gold doilies and a Cyclops hat. And I don't know why, but it just works for me. I love the asymmetrical short skirt. It's bold, it makes a statement, but it's also surprisingly beautiful, especially considering how busy it is. So for me, this is really working. Next, we have the Vivian, or Viv. I love the silhouette of this look. Again, we've got kind of the structured shoulder, but with the cutout neck area, it adds a level of interest, and the wig is iconic. I love horns, I love blonde, I love the devil, what's not to love? But I will say that this look is a lot simpler than what the other girls came in. With the pants specifically, I feel like it could be amped up. I will say this is another outfit that I would personally wear, so I do like it, and she looks beautiful, and the makeup is absolutely flawless. I was shook when Raven walked in. Loved that look. The black and white with the pop of red. Oh, that is my sweet spot. You know me, give me black and white, maybe a pop of color, but this nailed it for me. The red pumps. The hat is gorgeous, but then you've got the sequined bald cap underneath it, and the chiseled cheeks and the lips and the mixing of the stripes with the plaid, plus the like bottom part, what do you call that? The underpants part, the shape of it really gives like this beautiful hourglass figure. She is giving like your dad's new girlfriend who's only in it for the money and is only like 5 years older than you vibes. That was a real curveball, though. I didn't really know what was going on because I didn't know who she was either. So I guess she's not on the show. It said first alternate. I don't know what that means, but she's not competing, I assume. Is this just in case someone falls out of the race because they like break an ankle like Cornbread did or something? Then Raven's up? Or was it just a gag and we're moving on and she'll never appear again? So the way that this is set up for this season, there's no one getting eliminated. They're all staying in the whole season. And then they're going to receive these legend pins every time they're named a winner. And if you win the challenge that week, you get to bar one queen the next week from receiving a pin, a Legends pin. And then whoever has the most Legends pins at the end of the season, the top 4, will compete in a lip sync. That's the gag. And a lot of you in my comments predicted that it was going to be a point situation like this. How do y'all know that? Where you all getting this inside scoop from? Was it just... you thought that's what was going to happen? Like, how did y'all predict this? Who are your sources? But it makes sense. Like, it's going to make great TV. All of these queens are going to have a ton of airtime. They're going to get all their talents out and make great TV for the world to watch. So it makes sense. I get it, Ru. I see what you're doing. All right, then the queens had a reading competition. I do have to say a lot of these went over my head. I don't know what a rosebud is, and I don't really want to Google it. But I gotta say, I knew Jinx won before Ru even said it. She was funny. Also, I think the way they edited it made it kind of clear because I think they like zoomed out while everyone was clapping for her to kind of emphasize how well she did. So I don't know if I'm just getting better at reading the editing or if I'm just like a Drag Race genius and I just know what Ru's thinking. But that one was pretty obvious to me. But I get it. Like, she's funny. I get why you all love Jinx so much. Everyone was commenting on my last video. And I think I kind of underestimated her from just the preview alone. But she's likable and she's funny. Okay, and then Naomi Campbell came and, like, taught them how to walk the runway, which is pretty iconic. Did y'all know that Naomi Campbell is 51 years old? Literally how? Also, 𝗟𝗘𝗘𝗡𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧 is beautiful in and out of drag. I am constantly shocked. I need to know her entire skincare routine and who is her cosmetic dentist because she's gorgeous. All right, then they have to choreograph this new RuPaul song about legends. And I gotta say, it was like physically painful to watch them plan out the choreography. Not because this is like different than what it usually is. I hate watching them plan choreography. It just reminds me of every group project I had to do in high school. It gives me like contact anxiety. I hated it. But you could really tell how professional these ladies were because they really picked it up and learned very quickly and looked great by the end, just considering the fact that they all kind of had to come up with this amongst themselves. Then we had some sobbing in the workroom because Jada didn't feel like she was up to snuff with all the other queens, and she was kind of robbed of her year of being the Drag Race superstar queen, which fucking sucks. I really feel for her. I hadn't really put that together that, you know, she won on Zoom and then had to just spend her year as a drag queen superstar at home. Listen, I can relate. I graduated from law school in 2020, so I spent the last 2 months of law school virtually and then graduated via Zoom in my mother's basement. That's a letdown. All right? I feel you, Jada. And then I loved RuPaul gave a gratuitous performance of her new song in the middle of this episode, apropos to nothing. She is too much. But, you know, you also have to respect her. You got to respect the hustle. You know what I mean? Okay, and then we see this choreography come together, the RuPaul Legends song. I gotta say, the music on this show is pretty universally trash, in my humble opinion. It's never good. It's corny. The mix was weird for me here because their voices were really buried in it. So I had kind of a hard time hearing and understanding a lot of what they were saying while they were performing. Like, there was such heavy bass and like dance beats on top of what they were saying that like it just really got lost for me. So that's none of their faults. I just thought it was kind of weirdly done. Jinx was a standout for me on this Legend song. I liked her lyrics. I thought she was funny. I thought her performance was funny. But Trinity's look was my favorite. I didn't recognize her at first because obviously I haven't seen her before this season, so I haven't seen her versatility, but that's a versatile bitch. She looked great. I loved the whole look, the long blonde hair, the green, it looked great. All right, and then we get to the runway. Category is I'm crowning. That's good. So first we have Raja comes out, got some like Louis the 14th, what is that, 1600s European royalty with the giant wig and the teeny tiny shoes, like a Mozart moment. I loved this. I love that wig, the makeup that was like all powdery, like it was very well thought out. It was very detailed. I thought it was beautiful. Then we got Jinx. She's in this huge red dress with like gold detailing and this beautiful like golden red headpiece and the blonde wig. It's a really beautiful outfit, and I loved the leg slit. I thought that was a really cheeky little addition, but you know, nothing gave me kind of like the wow factor that I was looking for. I think it was maybe a little too on the nose for me. For like the crown theme, I wanted something a little different. Like I liked that Raja went with like a more powdery looking makeup and like the big giant wig and the kooky shoes. Like I liked that she went that far with it. I feel like Jinx could have gone farther with not being so on the nose with the theme, you know what I mean? Okay, and then we have Monet. She comes out in this tracksuit turned queenly ensemble. I loved her interpretation of the assignment, especially the really cool wig crown, the hair crown that was sculpted. Beautiful. Also a great metaphor. Like I've heard Black women's hair compared to crowns. Like I like the metaphor. She really kind of went deep with this. And it still has that silhouette of like old-timey queenliness, but the color and the fabric and the details are giving like 90s tracksuit modern twist. It's a really clever play on the assignment. Okay, then we have Trinity the Tuck. The train on this dress, unreal. She can barely walk, but like it's over the top in a great way. The headpiece, the giant jewels, the giant sleeves, like the rib cage look on the bodice part that goes along with the rib cage look that was in her green ensemble for the Legends dance that she did. I liked that continuity. I will say the hip part, the shape was weird for me. And I don't like the wig color, that bright orange. I would have loved to have seen like a white wig. Would have really made it look polished. The orange didn't work for me. I just don't like orange. This is what we're learning about me today. Then we have 𝗬𝗑𝗏𝗏𝗏. She's got this like melted crayons and a melted crayon crown. And, you know, it's a really interesting, these like linebacker shoulder pieces, but then these really cool melty tendrils coming down to form the skirt and the corset and the shoes. It's really interesting. And, you know, I love a glove moment. So she made melted crayon gloves. Very interesting. Fun fact, in the Midwest, we call them crayons. One syllable, crayons, crayons. And I've had to teach myself to say crayons so that people know what the heck I'm talking about. All right, and then we have Viv. I really hated this, I gotta say. I loved the headpiece, the octopus hair, really lovely, but nothing else works for me. It's the tatters. I don't know what's going on with the sleeves, what's happening with the shoes. It looks like she's got like cloven hooves that are like peeling their skin off or something. The shape feels all wrong. Like there's no silhouette. There's no real like crown happening really. There's some weird embroidery, it looks like, happening on the bodice area. I don't know. I get that she's going for this like nymph goddess, but I hated this. It really didn't work for me. And then Jada comes out with this like huge beehive hair. It's gorgeous. Again, sculptural, but this time it's sculptural with like this white beehive made out of dreadlocks with tiny flowers in it and then the tiny little crown on the top. I love that play with the proportions. The bodice with the kind of blue yellow floral looking ruffles doesn't work for me as well. It looks like they were like taped onto the bodysuit or something, like the peak outs of the bodysuit around these ruffles. There's something that's not really cohesive for me in that part of this look. Okay, and then Shay came out in this stunning look. I mean, the hair, the jewelry, beautiful. I really love how some of these queens are bringing like cultural elements into their styles, and it really elevates the concept. The robe is gorgeous. I love a good robe moment. For me personally, too many colors. But I think I'm going to be saying that a lot throughout this whole season. And I always say it with drag queens, but that's just my personal taste. I like a simple color palette, and I like give me structure with simple color. I'm gonna be gobsmacked every time, you know what I mean? This was too much color for me, but like I get what she's going for, and I think it's gorgeous. And then the judges go down the line with their critiques, and they have literally nothing negative to say to any of these queens, which I guess like makes sense. They're all truly all stars. But usually I'm expecting something negative so that we kind of get a little hint about like how they're feeling. Though then once the queens are out of the room, they do say that Trinity kind of forgot the words, which, listen, I get it. I loved her look, but yeah, she didn't know what the words were to her own lip sync, and this is all stars. Okay, so my picks for this episode, for the Legends song, Jinkx and Trinity were my winners, even though I know Trinity didn't know the words. I loved her look, and I loved Jinkx's lyrics and performance. And for me, my runway look was 𝗏𝗏. Again, I loved how creative she was with it, but it also was really elegant, and I love a historical piece. I'm also just a history nerd, so that could be playing into this, but I thought she looked gorgeous. That being said, 𝗟𝗓 and Monet were the winners, and they also looked amazing. So like I can't argue with the judges. And they probably know more about what they're talking about than I do. And then the lip sync between 𝗟𝗓 and Monet, hilarious, to Old MacDonald, iconic. And I had never seen either of these queens lip sync before, and they were so good. They were so good. I mean, 𝗟𝗓 definitely stood out for me. I think just because they were both funny, but 𝗟𝗓 was able to be glamorous and smooth and gorgeous, but also kooky and kind of funny. And she really like towed that line really well, but they both did great. I feel like sometimes with these lip syncs, the queens kind of overdo it. They overperform, and it kind of becomes this one flat note of them just like doing high kicks and death drops back and forth and like looking like they're scream singing the lyrics. But these two queens, they had subtlety, they had nuance. Like watching this lip sync was a treat. All right, and then 𝗟𝗓 ultimately wins, which I agree with that. And then she gives Trinity the golden plunger. So she's the one that's going to get passed over the next week. Even if she wins, she can't get that Legends pin to go towards the final top 4 lip sync battle. I think that was a good call on her part. Trinity seems like a tough contender, and I think the name of the game for this has to be that you have to block the queens that you feel are your biggest competition. But what's nice about watching these queens talk to each other is they clearly have been in the business for a long time. They clearly have competed on Drag Race before, so they get that like none of this is really personal. It's a game, it's a competition. You got to do what you got to do, but like they're not taking it as seriously as like brand new queens on the show seem to take it in what I've seen, which is kind of refreshing to see. But I guess it's early in the season, so you know, tensions might rise as the season progresses. I think I'm gonna have a hard time picking like one overall winner every episode because these queens are so good, and I feel like I don't have a nuanced enough understanding to really know who did the best. I think 𝗟𝗓 absolutely deserved the win. She looked gorgeous. And it's hard because I really thought that Jinkx did the best in the Legends songs, and then 𝗏𝗏 on the runway. And 𝗏𝗏 didn't really stick out to me in the Legends song, and Jinkx really kind of, I felt like she fell flat on the runway. So it's hard for me to pick a winner this week. But I think it would have to be 𝗏𝗏 for me. But it doesn't matter what I think because it's 𝗟𝗓 ultimately, and I think she looked great. What do you think? Shoot me a comment. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about episode 1. This has been Drag Me with Leeja Miller. Stick around because I'm going to be releasing my reaction to episode 2 shortly. So we'll see you soon. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're listening in podcast form, which if you didn't know, this is also available anywhere you get your podcasts. Please consider rating and reviewing this show so that it can get to more listeners. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.